Good evening. How everyone doing today? God is good and God is good all the time. I'm here to give y'all some of the short news. Um, I am the chosen one, the creator of the world, and I'm just here to give you a little short news on today. Let me put my other set of glasses on, my eyes. Um, I understand. I saw yesterday, Russia blew up the bridges in a attacks, blow up the bridge and stuff. So I see I see that we need a sit down. We need a sit down. I'm requesting a sit down. We need to talk about what's the root of behind this war, because it's no matter what kind of y'all done had a peace talk, y'all done had plenty talks, but seem like nothing is working. I need to know what's the root behind this war, that it got so much anger behind it. So we all I have my email down below where y'all can email me, because um, I really do want to have a request for a sit down, because it seems like it's more. I need to know the root of all this anger, of this what is taking place in. Russia is forcing demolish the bridge. Um, so I just need to know what's the problem with how this war started, and what is the main problem, the main root of this war. So I really do need a sit down to find out exactly what is going on, or what's a solution we can come up with. Because this is not it's just this is really have to come to an end. Y'all done had so many peace talks. You had so many peace talks. So what is the next solution that we need to come up with? So please email me so we can set a talk, and y'all had talks already. So I don't know. Y'all done had about 2 3 peace talks. So that was one of my topics I wanted to talk to y'all about. And if we can't come up with a solution of this wall, then we'll have some kind of action should start taking place, because we seem like we can't come to no kind of solution for this war to come to an end. Um, I will have my email down at the below. Y'all need to contact me to request a sit down. Okay, the second request topic I need to talk about is the school. Okay, I'm trying to create a safe zone for the school. Because you have these children in that school. You know, and you have so much violence coming through the school. you know. So we're gonna talk about the violence in the school. We're also gonna talk about to Corona also. So first I request that we have unarmed security in the school. Have the unarmed security inside the building, and have them patrol upstairs, downstairs. We don't need an armed security or deputy inside the school with a gun on side of it, because you have teenagers who will try to snatch it off this side. So we can have unarmed security inside the building. Just make rounds to make sure nothing suspicious, or make sure no activity is going on. And y'all can have armed security or either deputy outside of the building to make sure no activity or nothing else that's coming through the school. Because they climbing over the fence and everything else. Last year, I was talking about they was climbing all over the fence. So you'll want to have somebody armed outside and somebody unarmed inside the school. Okay, so that's one solution for the safety. Now for the corona, uh, we still have that still going on. It's not heavy as it was before, but we still have that going on. So I request that all the teachers and faculty, if you haven't taken the corona test, I request that you should take the test. And when everyone take the test, before the teachers enter their classroom, they should check their temperature. Because we still have to be careful with these little small children. Because the children is not really able to take the test. I think the oldest children are able to take the test, but the younger ones not able to take the test. So they'll be kind of safe for the children with all the teachers check their temperature, and the teachers and the faculty. If you haven't taken the test, so please take the test. So that's a solution I created to come up with for the safety for the kids. And for the violence, I say have an unarmed security inside the building, pacing up and down every hour, and have a armed security or either deputy outside. That's the only solution I came up with so far. Um, and if any other schools have anything that you want to bring to my attention, please you can my email is at the bottom. You can email me and let me know any other problem that you have that you want to bring to my attention. Because someone brought this here to my attention this morning, I checked my email. So if anybody else have any problems that you want to bring to my attention, please you can email me. So we have to have it kind of safe for the kids. Because the kids, it wasn't designed for them to be in the school with violence. It was designed for them to be in the school to learn. So everything is just getting out of control, and I'm just only trying to put every pieces back together that was broken. So I hope y'all have a nice day, and then that's all the news I have for you on today. Please have you can get my email if you have any other question or anything needs to be brought to my attention. Thank you. Y'all have a nice day. Now I have a word on today. I'm done with the news. I'm killing two stones with one. The topic gonna be God is always right on time. Don't you know that? Always right on time. You could be in a pit and seem like you're losing, but when God step in, and I mean when God step in and pull you out of that pit, God's timing is always right on time. Now, when you're in a pit for a long period of time, and you think you done miss your mark, but come to find out, for some fair reason, you still right on schedule. Because see, God always step in right on time. He might take a long time, he might take a long time answering you or whatever, but when he do show up, he show up right on time. Right on time. So when we think it's impossible to move that big mountain out of our way, and we think it is just so hard, but nothing is impossible for our God to move. So God's perfect timing, we see, is always right on time. Now, while we is waiting, I have two things you should know about while you waiting. So I know all about waiting. And waiting is all worthwhile. One I have, why you waiting on God to save you or rescue you or answer your prayers, it grow our faith as we are forced to wait. Because you don't want to wait on nobody else. You don't want to just say, well, heck, I'm about to do something else. You're going to continue on waiting. You're going to continue on waiting on God. So two, trusting in God, and it makes certain that He and He alone will get the glory and praise for pulling us through. Because see, when God pull us through, God pull us out of that pit. God save us through our storm. You know, God, nobody but Him will get that glory. Glory to glory. You know, we're going to see with Psalms 31:15. My time are in your hands. You know, our time is in God's hands. So no matter what time it takes, because he always take a long time, but guess what? His time is worth waiting for. You know, He always still be right on time. You know, so at the right time, God will provide. At the right time, God will deliver. At the right time, God will rescue us. You know, so God don't have no special time when He gonna do something. He always have His own special time. Only if we just wait on Him. You know, because sooner we about to just give up and throw in the towel, there go God right there. You know, so we always just have to keep on waiting, because God always gonna be right on time. And you're gonna always feel like you miss your mark. You done miss so much time. But then when He pulled me out, you know, they say you still on schedule. You know, so you thinking you been a lost time. But no. So God will bring about His own perfect will and His own perfect time. You know, so I'm gonna read from my Bible here. And it says, God will bring His own perfect will and His own perfect time, reminding Himself of this when times are tough. Give Him confidence and joy. And when we are feeling uncertain or impatient about God's activity in our lives or in the life of someone we love, we can repeat daily affirmation and gain strength. And when we meditate on God's word in this song, we can give thanks to God. When we place our hope in Him, we will never be disappointed. We'll never be disappointed. Never be disappointed. Because God, see, when God do show up, He ain't going to show up empty-handed. You know, He going to show up with a purpose. He going to show up with a miracle. He going to show up with something. He ain't going to come empty-handed. You know, He wait a long time, you know, to come to your rescue, and He will not come empty-handed. You know, so now we also have someone else that waited for a long time for God. You know, he done been through something. Just like I've been through something. Just like y'all done been through something. This person is Joseph. He done been through a whole lot, you know. When I have one amazing man named Joseph in the Bible who waited for a long time for God. But everything worked out for his good. Now see, when you wait a long time, and sometimes you might get tired and worried, you know, but remember, you will not be disappointed, because God will always make your long time worthwhile. You know, so Joseph's brothers throw him in a pit because, you know, they were jealous. God gave him a gift to see dreams and interpret dreams. You know, and he trying to tell the brothers about the dream. The brothers didn't want to hear. He tried to tell them that sooner or later we going to have famine in our land. You know, they didn't want to listen, so they want to grab and throw him in a pit and sold him to Egypt. So Joseph was in slavery, and he also was in prison for 13 years. Now that's a long time, you know, and he thought, you know, but he was God's favorite. You know, that's what in his mind, he know he God's favorite, so he constantly waiting on God, like, God, where you at? I'm here. You know, so he was in there for 13 years, you know, and it was no God, you know. So while he was in prison, Joseph didn't have no idea when he came out the purpose that he was going to have on his life when he came out. You know, so for God, it's amazing purpose that he had on Joseph's life when he got out of prison. You know, so this is God working in Joseph's life. Now, it was a long coming, but right on time. You know, Joseph was the second most powerful man in Egypt. You know, and also he saved the entire region for famine. You know, remember he had that dream a while back when he tried to tell his brothers. You know, so the brothers drove him in the pit, but they had no idea that they were going to have to turn back to Joseph. You know, and when they turned back to Joseph, they didn't even know who Joseph was. But Joseph knew who he was, who they was. So Joseph, they thought Joseph was dead. They throw him in a pit and thought that was it. Thought he was it. So Joseph was able to see his father and his brothers for the last time. So Joseph, he's sitting in a pit, he's sitting in jail, and come out. He come out, he the king. He running everything. That was amazing. That was God working in his life. He was in there for 13 years, not knowing when he come out, God was waiting on you. God was waiting on you. Because you wait a long time, and wait for God to show up. It took a long time. But guess what? God show up. He don't never show up empty handed. He gonna always show up with something. He showed up with a purpose for Joseph's life. And Joseph was the king. He was the ruler over Egypt. He was running everything. And he started out being slave. And then wind up in prison. And come out being a ruler over Egypt. So we have to give praise for God, because sometimes we get frustrated. I'm myself, sometimes we might get frustrated. The long is wait, but guess what? The long wait is worthwhile. Because you will come out with a reward. Because when God show up, he ain't gonna show up empty-handed. He will show up with something. He will show up with amazing purpose for your life. Joseph never known that he was gonna come out being a ruler over Egypt when they had him in prison for 13 years. And he started out being in a slave. So he went through something, but came out being amazing. Being amazing because he always did love the God. God always did have that power, that gift over Joseph. So he thought God was going to come in right then and there. But see, God do things on his own time. He do things on his own time. And sometimes it might hurt. And sometimes it might be a long journey. You might get frustrated. You might get tired. But see, that's what I read earlier. That's when your faith going to kick in. You got to have hope. You got to keep on dreaming. You got to keep on holding on. I'm going to talk about, we're going to go with Romans chapter 8:28. It says the Bible gives us many promises about God's goodness and love towards us in general. And we should hold on to those promises and trust that he causes all things to work together for our good. Now, what we think is bad, like Joseph was sitting in prison, like I was at my downfall, we think that was terrible. We think that was bad. But sometimes God can take that bad and turn it into good, because you can go through so much, and then at the end, you is a blessing, and God get his glory. Joseph sitting there for 13 years, being as a slave, being in prison, and come out, have an amazing life, because when God got a promise on your life, he gonna stick to that promise. And you got to hold on to that promise. Like in Romans 8:28 said, you got to hold on to that promise. Hold on to that promise. That's gonna keep you going. That's what keep me going. My dream, my future, my purpose. You got to keep visualizing that. When you in that pit, when you at that downfall, when you in that darkness, you got to keep on dreaming. Keep on dreaming. You got to remember, if God made a promise to you, he gonna hold on to that promise. And and when God show up to rescue you, he ain't gonna show up empty-handed. He gonna show up with something. You will have a blessing. You might have a child or whatever you waiting on. Look at Abraham and his wife. They was old in age because they constantly was praying to God for a child. And they never had got it, and they kept waiting, and they kept on waiting till God show up. See, God gonna show up on his time, not on our time. He gonna show up on his time. Now, he show up for Abraham and his wife, but they done hadn't got in age. But guess what? He still give them that child. Give them more than one child. Their child will come to be history. Joseph, Jacob, all them, all the Israelites, all that come from Abraham. They started out with no children at all. Couldn't have no children. And start out and end up with so many children, grandchildren, and all that accumulating and made to history. All that Israelite, all that's come from Abraham. That's Abraham bloodline. And that's amazing how he got Joseph, he got Jacob, Joseph from Jacob, and he had Isaac. All that is history. When Abraham couldn't even have no children at all, and they waited. See, that's the main key, is waiting. Because when you at the end of your rope and you feel like you about to throw in the towel, that's when God gonna step in. So that's why no matter how hard, how tough it is, I've been through it. I know. I'm a tough woman. Been through it. Still going through it. But you got to keep holding on. Keep on holding on. It might seem like it's never going to work. But you got to keep on holding on. Keep on holding on and keep on trusting in God. See, the main key in waiting. You got to trust God. You got to have faith. And you have to believe that He's going to rescue you. It might take a long time. It took them years and years. But they had that baby. They had that baby. They had more than one. The children they had was a blessing. It was a blessing to history. Israelite made history. So timing. So God's timing is perfect. He always working a plan in our lives. Now, why we waiting and thinking that God don't hear us? But He has. He watch us too. So after the long wait, when God do show up, He don't show up empty-handed. He don't show up empty-handed. He will have amazing purpose on your life. He might have amazing gift on your life. He might have amazing husband on your life. He might have amazing child on your life. Whatever you've been waiting for, you will receive it. You will receive it. He will rescue you. He will rescue you. Because God, He will not come empty-handed. He will not come empty-handed. You look at Abraham, waited all that long time for a child. And when God did give him the child, God tested him. Tested him with that only child that he had. Told him to go up on that mountain. And when God saw how faithful Abraham was with that child he waited for so long for, and he decided to say, he ain't backmouth God or nothing. He said, okay, and went up there. When God saw how faithful he was, God said, put that hash down. Look at your sheep right over there. A lot of time God trusts our faith. God will give us a lot of tests to trust our faith. To trust if we believe in Him. He trusted Abraham. And he saw that Abraham trusted Him. So that's why he promised to Abraham, I will bless you. I will bless your children. I will bless their children. I will bless their children after their children. I will bless the whole nation. That's how faithful Abraham was. And that's how God wants us to be. He wants us to be faithful to Him, no matter how long it takes. It's taking a long time, but sometimes you get frustrated, but you got to keep on waiting. You got to keep on waiting. Because when you wait at the end, there's a blessing. There's a reward of whatever you was waiting for. It can be a child. It can be a husband. It can be anything you've been waiting on. God will never disappoint you. Joseph was in there for 13 years. That's a long time to wait. Look at the Israelite. 430 years they was waiting. They was crying out to God. But guess what? God answered their prayers. No matter how long it took, God answered their prayers. And took them and brought them into the land. To the promised land that He swore to them. Because see, He was going to be good to them. Because that is part of Abraham. So he going to take care of the Israelite. So this package was about, no matter how long you have to wait, don't never think God never going to show up. He will show up. And guess what? When He show up, He will not show up empty-handed. Because when Joseph got out of that pit, out of that prison, he was the king. He was the ruler over Egypt. He never thought his life would be amazing after he done sit up in the pit for 13 years. And just like me, I'm in a battle for so long. So you never know what amazing life that you will have if you only wait. If you only wait on God. It may be hard. It may be hard, but you have to do things in the process. Like I said, you got to keep on dreaming. Dream your life. Visualize your future. Visualize something. You know, keep on keeping your faith, keeping your hope. You got to keep doing all that kind of stuff to keep you going. I have to keep on visualizing my dream, visualizing my future, visualize how I'm going to do this and how I'm going to do that. You got to visualize the good, positive thing, not the negative thing, the good, positive thing. When negative stuff pop up, I say, oh Lord, let me start thinking about my future, my business. So think about, you got to dream about something that you want to do when you come out of your pit. You got to keep on speaking positive. Keep speaking positive. Keep on praying. No matter how long it takes, keep on praying, because see, God don't work on our time. God work on His time, and guess what? His time is always on time. That's just like when I was in my my downfall. So much time was passing by. I'm like, well, I thought it was it, but guess what? In my mind, I just kept on working hard. You're gonna have a little doubt here, but then you got to have a positive conscience on this side. So my conscience on this side kept on saying, keep on working. But then you had a little doubt here. Oh Lord, I don't know what's gonna happen now. But guess what? God knows what's gonna happen. God will always step in. He will always step in and rescue, and always at the nick of time. So I hope y'all enjoyed the news, and I hope y'all enjoyed this word. And remember, if you in a battle, you in a pit for a long period of time, and you think God is not going to rescue you, He will. Because He heard the Israelites for 430 years. So He heard them for 400 some years. He hear you, and you just been praying for what, a month or 2 weeks or whatever. He hear you. He hear you, and He watching. He watching you. So remember, always wait, because once you throw in that towel, that's when He gonna show up. Sometimes He tests your faith. He tests and see how long you can wait. So always wait. And while you wait, you have to keep your faith. You have to keep your faith, and you have to trust that God will rescue you in your storm. So I hope y'all have a blessed day and continue on enjoying your day. And I see you on the next video.